In this video, we're going to go over the G chord on the guitar. So this is how most people play the G chord on the guitar, especially acoustic guitar. And if you're a beginner and you're having a hard time with it, don't worry. I'm going to show you some easier ways to do it, some ways you can practice it, and even some different ways to play the G chord, and it's going to sound great. So to play it this way, you put your third finger on the low E string on the 3rd fret. Then put your second finger on the 2nd fret of the A string. So it's like that. Then make sure your fingers are nice and curved like this, because the rest of the strings are going to ring open. The high E string, though, you're going to use your pinky. This is the hardest part. Put your pinky on the 3rd fret like that. So all together it sounds like this. So your first finger, you don't have to point it up in the air like I'm doing. You could just have it rest next to the second finger. Just make sure that it doesn't mute any of the strings. In other words, it's not touching any of them. Same thing with this part of your hand. Make sure that doesn't touch any of the strings, otherwise you're going to get a sound like this. When I first started playing this chord, I broke it down into separate parts, worked on it, and then I was able to do it all together. So you can just play this part, and don't worry about the pinky. Just play it like that. Then practice just the pinky there on the 3rd fret. Just see if you can get that note. Don't worry about anything else. And don't hold it down like a death grip. Just see, what's it going to take. Is it take a little more pressure, a little more pressure, a little less, a little more, until you get just the right amount of pressure, and you'll get used to that, so you won't have to press too hard, because that is going to hurt and make that finger very tired. So just practice that, and don't hold it for like 10 minutes. Just do a couple seconds. And what's really important is then get your hand kind of away from the guitar and then go back to the chord. And then kind of just forget it and then come back. Forget it, come back. As you're practicing the guitar, don't get frustrated. Have a good time, and like I said, break it down into separate little parts, and you can play along with songs that have the G chord in it, and you'll sound just great. You can actually play the G chord just like this. G string open, B string open, and then 3rd fret on the high E string. So practice that with all 4 fingers, but especially the pinky. So that's how to play the G chord traditionally, or the way a lot of other people do. But the way I play it, and you might like it too, is like this. I put my 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of the low E string, and then my 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, like this. And then I put my 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the high E string, and this way I don't even have to use my pinky. I like doing it that way. The reason people usually play it this way with the pinky is because if you want to play a C chord right after it, all you got to do is pick up your fingers, move them like this, and you have a C chord. So you can easily switch between G and C. So that's the reason a lot of people do it. But the way I play it, like this, you do have to move your fingers a little more, but I've just gotten used to it and it doesn't slow me down at all. So if you like it better this way, you could give that a try. And really the way I'm doing it, I can easily switch to a D chord. So if I did it the way a lot of other people do, like this, I still have to switch my fingers around to play a D chord. So try both ways, practice both ways, see what you like. I like it this way. The other reason I like it that way is because I could play the chord like this. I can put my third finger on the third fret of the B string, and then my pinky on the third fret of the high E string. And something about these two fingers together, they kind of help each other. It makes it easier. And I think it kind of sounds better. So have a listen, see what you think. So here's the traditional way. Here's this way. I think it sounds a little better. Let me know in the comments what you think. Another way to play the G chord really easy is like this. Put your first finger on the third fret of the low E string, and then put your pinky on the fifth fret of the A string. It sounds like this. Just those two notes, that's called a G power chord, and that's used a lot in rock and metal music, and it sounds great. If you can bar your pinky so that you're playing the fifth fret on the D string as well. And then this way you're playing 3 strings. So you could practice that if you like it. Also, you could use your third finger here and your pinky here, so it's like this. The good thing about practicing it that way is another way to play the chord is add your middle finger on the G string on the 4th fret, like this. So it's like this. Another power chord like this. Put your first finger on the 5th fret of the D string, and then either your third finger or your pinky on the 7th fret of the G string, like this. You could also do your third finger like that and then add your pinky on the 8th fret of the B string. It sounds like this. Another way to play the G chord is using your thumb. So you're going to actually put your thumb on the 3rd fret of the low E string, and then you're going to mute the A string with the tip of your thumb. So it sounds like that. And then you can either do your first finger on just the 3rd fret of the high E string, or you can do both the B string and the high E string like that. All together it sounds like this. So that's not used very often, but it is used. So if you like it, try it out. Here's another way to play the G chord. So this is putting your first finger on the 7th fret of the G string, your third finger on the 8th fret of the B string, and your second finger on the 7th fret of the high E string. It sounds like this. This is just like the D chord. If you know how to play the D chord over here, you're just sliding up to right here, first finger on the 7th fret, and that's a G chord. And a great way to play the G chord on the electric guitar is like this. So this one, you put your second finger on the 12th fret of the G string, your third finger on the 12th fret of the B string, and your first finger on the 10th fret of the high E string. You can get some great sounds on the electric guitar like this. And another power chord that sounds great on the electric guitar is like this. So this one, you put your first finger on the 10th fret of the A string, and then put your third finger on the 12th fret of the D string, and your pinky on the 12th fret of the G string. So all together. Well, that's all the ways I can think of to play the G chord. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have, please let me know in the comments, and you can also feel free to ask any questions about the guitar. I'd love to help you. I'd love to hear from you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for watching this video, subscribing, liking, all that stuff. And please share this with other guitar players. I'd love to get connected with you. And the G chord is good. It's great.